Overwatch League. Speaking of crazy, Overwatch League. The teams have apparently had enough of paying huge costs to maintain teams in the league, while Activision Blizzard does less and less to bring profitability to their own esport. So, whether or not anyone knows this, the Overwatch League is one of the, if not the most expensive leagues, short of maybe League of Legends, to get into as a team and to maintain a team within the league. And that's fine. If you're going to charge people, you know, it's kind of like I'm like, I would say an analogy is like when you have a rental property, especially if it's a rental property, to use my own example, where they're going to be living underneath of you in your primary residence. You need to almost price it, even though it might not be worth that much. You almost need to price it to a level that reduces the people that are going to be able to afford it to a group that you are assuming will be the least amount of trouble. And that's an uncomfortable truth for some people, but that is what some people do, because they look at it and they go, well, what else am I going to do? Burn my own fucking house down by just making it worth like $400 and then like have like literally anyone capable of renting it? So they look at it and they go, all right, well, it's okay to charge this much money, because then it means that theoretically the quality of the people buying teams and maintaining teams and seeking sponsorships to float the teams and bringing stuff to the league is higher, and that's fine. However, there is still some level of responsibility for Activision Blizzard, since it is their game and esport that they are running, to bring profitability and eyeballs, viewership, whatever, to the sport, so that all of this prohibitive expense pays off for the people who are actually paying to be involved in some way, shape, or form.
You want to know what's not profitable?
Esports.
Esports.
Except for like 2 fucking games.
And esports teams. It's not
esports teams in specifics are not profitable.
It is not profitable, guys. People think all these teams, they make a bunch of money, dude. They make their money from merch and from influencers. That's where they make their money. The vast majority of the money that gets made in these teams, oh, of course, there's sponsorship money, which essentially keeps the thing afloat. But it is not as profitable as what people think. These esports teams aren't fucking swimming in money, and they're probably making these things high, like the maintenance high. It's the same sort of deal in real estate, where there's a lot of hurdles to become a real estate agent in a lot of places, not everywhere, but like, you know,
Nova Scotia's got a lot of hurdles.
It does, and it's similar to in a lot of places, but like they do this purposely, because they want to have a certain type of professional that is not only gonna study, take the exam, then you got to pay a bunch of different fees, like yearly licensing things and renewal of this, and you gotta be your own boss. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the groundwork. It's a lot of different stuff, and they do this purposely. This isn't a thing where you can just go in and hand in your resume and be like, "Hey, here's my resume. I'm a good person." I tell you, it's like, no, you got to do all this stuff, and it seems like Blizzard is like just cutting out. I can't imagine somebody like Blizzard. I know Blizzard gets a lot of shit, but like I can't imagine running a league and just opening it up to whoever. Imagine the amount of sweaty fucking fuckboys and fuckgirls in their mother's basements that are like, yeah, I'm going pro in Overwatch. And, you know, everybody and their dogs fucking thinking that they're God tier and stuff. What these things do is it just creates it so that really only a certain number of people can actually get in. And typically those people are ones that are taking it serious, that have all their ducks in a row, that bring a level of professionalism, that bring a level of legitimacy. And that's why they create these barriers, in my opinion. The problem is if the barriers are too high, a lot of these esports people, they're already just getting by. And a lot of the times, a lot of these owners of esports, they go under. It's just a matter of time. There's like a handful, maybe like 6 actual esports teams that have lasted a decade. Where are all these other teams? They're gone.
especially in North America.
Like, in North America, of course.
Yeah.
In certain parts of the world, if you're looking in Korea or in Europe, there are some staples for sure. And not all esports teams don't make money. Don't get me wrong. Okay. There's some very successful esports teams. Very, very lucrative teams. But a lot of that comes at evaluations. A lot of these esports teams, it's not about money in the bank. It's about what the company is valued at when they do these seed rounds, and it's a lot of venture cap. There's a lot of like angel investors and just people with dumb fucking money that just throw money around and are just like, yeah, go fucking make your esports team. And then if it blows up, it blows up. It's a lot of this stuff, and a lot of it's corrupt. There's a lot of fucking shit.
Well, it's especially
it's
like
a shit show. It's
how
a shit
often
show.
how often do you hear about like an esports team, getting any amount of money, and then you find out not long after that like half the players aren't getting paid, and one or two people at the top are like just siphoning money out of the fucking company, and then the company folds, and then there's like no recourse.
Yeah, they're doing trips to fucking LA, getting crazy condos and fucking partying their ass off and fucking partying like they're Dan Bilzerian and just using the esports money, and people are fucking people are like, where's my money? And then when the people leave, they're like, yo, this organization owes me $13,000 or $20,000 or whatever, or I did this. Not all of them are bad. Don't get me wrong. There's some really good ones, but
there's a reason you hear a lot of these examples.
I mean, you see even 100 Thieves. I saw this shit on Twitter last week.
Oh yeah.
They let go of a bunch of higher ups as well. And these guys are like the guys, They're like the merch, they're the sponsor merch gods in North America. Even they're struggling.
Bro, they look. So all that is to say that I don't think a lot of people, otherwise they wouldn't have bought into it in the first place. I think they're all comfortable with that. The idea, though, is that that there is a mutual responsibility. The responsibility of the team owners and management is to provide the funds to get into the league, and then to do their best to maintain the teams and the players that are on them under the guidelines of the league. And then the responsibility of the developer and the people running the actual league is to ensure that the product continues to grow and has quality, to then be able to pay off the exorbitant entry fees and maintenance costs of what they are imposing upon the teams. It's not like Jeff said it was an open market, and then it was like a free market for whoever gets into the league, and there's no franchising fee or anything like that. And you just get in, and it's anyone's game. There's a high dollar value strapped to it that you have to pay. And so as soon as you force people to pay, you really should have a responsibility to ensure that on the other side, there is an opportunity for them to earn that money back and be somewhat profitable if you plan on keeping this esport alive in any capacity.
Well, it seems like Blizzard has this fucking stink about them now because they're fucking dumb as shit over there and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I just think they've just lost the pulse of how community works, and it's all they act like we owe them something, and the thing is, we don't owe them fuck all. In fact, Blizzard owes gamers some real fucking good games because they just keep getting lazier and lazier and lazier, and the shit has just gone down fucking hill big time. And we're not just talking about one game, we're talking about like 5 different properties gone to shit. If it wasn't for fucking World of Warcraft printing money, they're fucked. Super fucked. And they're mobile games. That's all they got. Every esport, the esports is dead. Gone. If I was an investor in esports, I'd be getting behind Riot. I'd be getting behind fucking Valve. I'd be getting behind virtually any other publisher outside of Blizzard when it comes to esports. They don't care. Heroes of the Storm, dead. StarCraft, dead. Even Warcraft's PvP stuff, dead. Fucking, it's all dead.
Well, you know what my theory behind all this is, and I actually talked about this on the stream last night when I was building my Viking home in Valheim, was that there was a key difference with how Blizzard handled previous games and their esports and how they handled Overwatch. In the past, And the most successful esports to this day, with very limited exceptions, if there are any, maybe Valorant being one, is that any other esport that existed because a game was provided that had a competitive feature, and an esport grew out of it organically from the community that was playing the game. And after it's like, and why a company would look at that model that's been successful forever and think that at any point in time, trying to jump that gun and say, okay, not only are we going to make a game that has a competitive mode, we're going to make a game specifically to be an esport. And then we are going to try to craft this community around it just by throwing a bunch of money and making it very pretty and high production values. And nobody can argue up against Overwatch League from a production standpoint or anything. It's all there. The problem is there's no soul there because they are trying to pull people there instead of letting people walk to it and then build upon what's there, which, if you think about it, is even easier because for Blizzard in the past, and they were really hands-off with StarCraft almost like the whole way anyway, with the exception of like
but that's why it was
the
successful.
WCS. But that's why it was successful. So you stand back and you go, all right, as a company, we don't have to do anything. We let the community build an esport, prove that it's viable. There's a market for it without doing anything, without spending a dime. We just make the game. And then after years of the proof being there, now we step in and all we have to do is be a support system. We don't have to take over.
Enable people. Just throw some gasoline on the fire and fucking walk away and just let them do the thing.
And that's like every esport that's ever been successful, majorly successful with few exceptions.
Look what League of Legends, look what Riot did. Look, the proof is in the pudding. And the problem is Blizzard is just, they lost every soul that is there. And now they're just mindless drones that think they know. That's just ran completely like corporate. We saw same thing happen with Twitch. We saw it happens everywhere, and they just lost it. It's like have you ever been to? For those who don't know, okay, if you've ever been to a black potluck, right?
Have you ever been invited to the cookout? Is what you're asking people.
The cookout. Okay, it's like going to a cookout. Okay, so say for example, Adam, right? Let's pretend. You know what? Your girl's Filipino.
Yes.
Okay? The Filipinos
they have their
know how to cook. They know how to cook. Okay. Yeah. Period. Now, it's like you going to meeting your girl's parents and family, and they're fucking excited to meet you. And I'm sure this is going to happen in real life. And you're going to go meet them. And what they're going to do is they're going to prepare a shit ton of food. And it's just going to be a massive amount of food. Oh, and everybody and they dog. I mean, Filipinos got some big ass families. They're going to be coming in.
An event.
And it's going to be an event. You're going to walk into the kitchen and you're going to be like tiptoeing around because there's just going to be food everywhere. And you've got just flavor from all different families. They're cooking their best dish. So, like, you've just got the best representation of every single family. You know, her brothers, her sisters, fucking grandparents, aunts and uncles, cousins, relatives, friends of friends. They all got the dish. They're bringing it. It's fucking, you go there and it's delicious. You're like, oh my God. If only, if this was a restaurant, I'd be eating here every day. And then there's just some fucking dumbass that is sitting around the corner for whatever reason. And he's got a ton of money. And he overhears you. He overhears you. So what? You know what? That's a great idea. You know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to open up an all-you-can-eat Filipino buffet. That's what I'm going to do. So he opens up the Filipino buffet. And he goes, you know what? Let's just get all those Filipino dishes that was at this cookout, because Adam loved the fucking cookout. This is just everybody. This is gonna be a home run. This is gonna be that grand slam. This is it. This is the one. Okay. Now this guy here that made this is Blizzard. Okay. They're like, yeah. Okay, this is great. This formula works. Okay, we're gonna go hire 3 Caucasians, and we're gonna put them in the kitchen, and we're gonna tell them to go make Filipino food, all those dishes. And bless their soul. They work hard. They work hard as hell. They're in the fucking back sweating like it's a fucking work. What are the sweatshops? They're out there just grinding They're grinding hours, man. They're overworked. They're underpaid, but they're doing their best. The buffet opens. You go in there, and you're going, holy shit, there's a lot of food here. But just doesn't smell right. I'm going to give it a try because I love the Filipino cookout. So you go there, you take all the food. You get yourself like 5 plates because when it comes to Filipino families, it doesn't matter. You just pile it on, okay? Pile it on. They pile it. You go to your table. You start eating it. This shit is bland as fuck. It's got no flavor. Shit tastes like ass.
Tastes like white people food.
Nailed it. I didn't want to say it, but you said it. It doesn't have a taste of soul, culture, nothing. It's missing that intangible ingredient. It's missing the passion. It's missing that thing. That's the problem. You just can't create. What they're doing is they're just faking it. That you can't fake passion. It just resonates. You just see it. You can get a bunch of people in the building. You can open up the buffet and say, this is going to be the greatest buffet ever. And all the Filipino food you can think and all you can eat. And it's reasonably priced, even though Blizzard's not reasonably priced. And we'll just go there. And it's going to be great. And they got the most fanciest building with the most fanciest comfortable seats. But the reality is, if the food sucks, no one's going back and the place is going under. That's Blizzard when it comes to esports. They lost it. The culture and passion is dead. It's gone. And the cold truth is, it's never coming back. Ever. It's never coming back. The best that we're going to do is if for somehow, some way, they create a game and they just allow us to go and do what we need to do with the game and just say, keep your fucking hands off it. Just balance it when we tell you to balance it. Do the things that we tell you to do and just shut the fuck up and collect your money. But no. Same thing with Grand Theft Auto. Rockstar isn't coming in and creating their own role play servers. They know. They go in there and they say, okay, 5M is gone. All the role play servers are gone. We're going to make our own set of role play servers. Shit's going to crash and burn because they don't know what it's like. They haven't been in the trenches. All they need to do, and that's what they do, is they just come up with updates once in a while. They keep the game afloat, and that's it. They let us go. Blizzard needs to do the same. It's what Riot does. It's what Valve does. It's what most of these companies do. Yeah, some are a little bit more hands-on than others, and it's okay to be hands-on if you know what the fuck you're doing. Blizzard don't know what the fuck they're doing anymore. They know how to make competent games, okay? They know how to make good games. That's what they do. They make good games.
I know they know how to make sterile games. Is how I describe it.
Okay, there you go. They make sterile games. They make games that work. Right? They're not making games anymore that I wake up in the morning excited to run downstairs and fucking play their games. They haven't in a long time. Now it's Call of Duty, World of Warcraft,
Diablo Immortal.
Anyway, I digress. I just can't stand what Blizzard's become.
All of that is to say, to try and bring it back to the original point. All that is to say is that these Overwatch teams have hired a British law firm to open up dialogue with Activision Blizzard, legally speaking. They're going to go into collective bargaining, essentially, to try and figure this out. Because Activision Blizzard, just as a baseline example, after their partnership with YouTube ended in November of last year, have not moved to collect any other partnership or deal since for the league. Zero. And so, but they're still asking, hey guys, you want to pay us your league dues, please and thank you? And the teams are going,
your union dues?
Blood from a fucking stone? Where do you think the money is coming from? If we're not participating in a league that's generating millions of dollars, how do you expect millions of dollars to keep pouring into your fucking pockets for this shit?
Especially in this climate, dude. Everything is down.
Down bad.
Bad. It's about to get worse.
So, I mean, my question to follow this up with for you, Mr. Black, because like you said, esports is not necessarily, in very many instances, a profitable venture. there are people that have the money and the talent, whether it's players or owners or tournament organizers, etc., that are all there. They have the passion, they have the talent, they have the money. But do you think that Overwatch League is approaching too great a sunk cost fallacy situation? Do you think that they should just take their money, their players, their talent, and move elsewhere and just go to a game that's actually going to be profitable for them?
Yes. And in fact, they should speak with their wallets. I mean, it's easier said than done, because I know there's a lot of people that depend upon these leagues. It's their livelihood. There's a lot of moving parts. To run an esports team, it isn't one person. There is a large group of people all working in tandem to make this thing fucking float. But if you really want to stick it to them, why don't all these teams just say, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. Where's the Overwatch League without the teams, right? But it's easier said than done, because there's some people, it's like the UFC, right? In the UFC, they're like, well, why don't the fighters just not fight if they're not getting paid right? Well, some people just need to feed their families, and you just can't not do it. But like, it just seems, it's just diminishing returns over and over and over. It's not even like Overwatch is some sort of incredible fucking game that like everybody's chomping at the bit to get to. It's the Overwatch League as a whole, honestly, has and will continue to be a failure. It's a failure.
I think that they need to overhaul the entire league if they want to go forward. I don't think you can charge this much money. I think that they need to be able to say that, the fees scale to some degree to the profitability of the overall league if they're going to continue to try and have this model, because it's just, you can't expect it. And I think if they don't come, I think if this legal action doesn't come to like some reasonable conclusion, I think Overwatch League is dead in the next year.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's just over.